with some food on a fork, and he's like, "Hey, taste this," and the son's like, "You just came out the bedroom with food, like." Which is a legit concern.
No, that
like,
is, and not that type of food. That's
yeah,
pretty
it's
specific.
like somebody come out of their bedroom with food. I'm gonna have several questions.
Well,
like,
if it was a snack like chips, understandable.
Okay,
if
yeah.
you came out with like a piece of chicken,
yeah,
like,
he came out with like a piece of some kind of meat, and it's like, yeah, I would be concerned as well. But I guess in the movie he was grilling and his grill was out back, so he had to walk through the back to get. But still, like I would have been appalled too. Like, hold on,
you just walk out of the
you
bathroom. Like,
giving
hey,
me
try
some,
this, man.
you giving me some bedroom food?
Try this bedroom chicken. Really good.
Oh gosh, peace and blessings, kings and queens. My name is Jaquan Davis,
And I am Nicholas Fletcher.
and you are now tuned in to another episode of. Why are you watching me, Nicholas?
I'm waiting with bated breath.
You forgot to tell your daddy that you broke a window in his car. You are now tuned into another episode of the Young Old Heads podcast. The hip hop is influenced.
I still think adjacent is the best.
Adjacent, hip hop adjacent podcast where we talk about a little bit of everything and a whole lot of nothing. I've actually been talking to people about listening to the podcast, and a lot of them were like, "Yeah, it's cool that you do a podcast, but I don't really know that much about hip hop." So I try to put emphasis on the fact that it's just a minor part of what we do.
And again,
here, so.
I think it's really important to point out that's one of the big things that brought us together.
Yeah.
That we relate to, and also the centric thing that started the podcast. But as we started doing it, I feel it evolved beyond that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, man. We like to be very transparent in our thoughts on everything.
Because when we just hang solo, which again, for anybody who doesn't know, when Jay and I are just hanging out solo, the way we talk on the podcast is how we talk.
Yeah,
It's just,
I actually
that's why
think
it's so fluid.
We do put a slight filter on here, though.
Yeah,
like,
no, yes, there is
like
definitely.
Yesterday, Nick told me he hopes I choke on a butthole. But
I said an ass. Did I say butthole? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Choke on a butthole.
Okay, so before we get into the proceedings this evening, it is not evening at all. It is like 1 p.m. How was your week, sir?
I had a good week. It was chaotic. It was super busy. I had one of those days. So went camping over Memorial, which was really nice.
Yeah.
We got rained on for like 2 hours, but it was, I've been really trying to just live in the moment, sincerely. So with that being said, when it rained, I was just like, whatever. We went to go check out this like little fire station they have in the woods, and there was a hiking trail to a lake by it.
Nice.
And the friends I was with were like, who, mind you, they're familiar with the area. I'm totally new to it. So they're like, hey, like, you guys want to go to a hike to this lake? And I was like, sure, let's go. So we start hiking, and they're like, oh, by the way, it's a 2-mile hike. And just in the moment, I was just like, all right.
Well,
and
we're
then
here.
as we're on the hike, it's like, 2 miles there, and then 2 miles back.
Oh, all
So,
together.
Yeah, so we're
Okay,
talking
okay.
a 4-mile impromptu hike.
Oh, no,
So,
not all
no,
together.
no, all together, no.
All
2
together,
miles, 2 miles to the lake, and then 2 miles back to
okay.
the little fire station, or the watchtower. Yeah, so impromptu 4-mile hike, but enjoyed it. Like, sincerely was like, yeah, it's cool, man. I'm assuming this is what you do when you camp.
Yeah,
You just,
hiking's cool, man. Especially, but you gotta have some good footwear, though. If you ain't got no...
I did not.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't really prepare. Yeah,
yeah.
that's so. For not being much of a camper, like it was my first, I guess, real experience camping. Like real.
Yeah.
I'd been camping, air quotes, because like
Nobody can see you.
but like camping, like where there's a gas station right up the road. Like I feel like that's not official, So yeah, but it was cool. It was cool. And then to really quick add to that, I had a show yesterday, so that was cool. So I brought first live performance in almost a year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was at that show. If you subscribe to my Snapchat, Jaquan89, Jakewan89, I actually posted a little snippet of my bro here performing because I was proud of you.
Yeah, and then and the night before the show, so to give some context, another crazy day, but the night before the show, went to a little bonfire, again, out of my element, and I'm just like, I'm just going to roll with things, do stuff I'm not used to. Bonfire was a blast. I'm talking and unfortunately, Jay was going to be there. but you had the overtime.
Yeah, I
you
had
decided
to.
to
Yeah,
take.
so I didn't.
So it ended up just being a small group of us, but just, I mean, literally had a bonfire, just fire and music, and we were just laughing and talking.
Yeah.
So then after that, my wife had to go get the kids, and I was going to leave too. And the rest of the group was like, "Hey, we're going to go out for a little while. Like, why don't you just come with us?" And mind you, the next morning I have softball, jujitsu, a sound check, and a show. And I'm like, whatever, let's go. Like, I want to go out. Well, I got 4 hours of sleep that night and woke up and just I had my itinerary for the day and then my show, but I feel like it went well.
Yeah, that's good. Let's talk more about you.
Yeah, how was your week? How was your week?
God damn, man. What am I? Is this featuring me? No. On a serious note, though, my week was much better than the previous one. Worked a lot this week. Well, not a lot, I guess. Actually, I guess I had a short week.
Overtime.
I had some overtime, but it's technically about the length of a normal week at my job. I had Monday off, but so it was a cool, chill week. Summer feels like it's here. Although my son
Yes,
had a
officially,
baseball,
yeah.
my son had a baseball game yesterday, and it rained hard for like a good 10 minutes. Raindrops felt like hell. It was the craziest thing, man. So yeah, summer is here. It's also Pride Month. Shout out to gay people.
Absolutely gay, transgender, yeah.
Shout out to
everybody,
them.
yeah.
Which I think is great. I feel like it's especially like these people were scrutinized for so long just for being different than what's considered the norm. I think it's great that they have a month to celebrate who they are and come out and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
But
I couldn't agree
I
more.
do think some people are just doing some foolishness in the name of the Pride Month and hey guys, I'm bisexual. So
You are?
but no, absolutely not. But you're a dick. But in all seriousness, though, like I do think it's great that such a thing is going on. It's just weird how certain things become almost trendy, and then people just want to hop on the bandwagon. So that'll actually loop into our first subject matter of the day. But so
Quick interjection, and I think this is exactly why especially since we've condensed to half an hour, why we never reach our fourth topic.
Yeah.
But quick interjection, I had a friend the other day, and I just want your take on it because we haven't spoken about this
Okay.
yet. She told me that her view on sexuality was a lot more. It wasn't so like left or right.
Yeah.
And she said that, like for instance, she was like, yeah, like. Felicia, my wife, she's like, you're just straight. You're hard on straight. You have no female. She goes, but Nick, she goes, you could be more classified as bi. And I'm like, yo, whoa, hold it, no, swear. And I'm like, hold up,
Hold the phone.
Yeah, and I'm like, in under what context? And she's like, well, like. For instance, like you've talked about before, if like you see like say a celebrity or somebody out and about and it's a guy, you'll be like, oh, that's a really attractive guy, which means you're attracted to men.
No,
and I'm like,
that's-
no. I was like, I can find like a dude's style like
Yeah.
dope and like be like, that's
I'm the same way,
Yeah.
bro. Like I can admit, like that's a good looking dude. Like,
Exactly.
I don't. My
And,
feelings don't go beyond that.
And I'm not saying it like disrespectful to her in any manner because she's a good friend of mine, but her perspective was if you're a male who can find another male attractive, that means you're even in the smallest margin bisexual.
Well,
and the flaw.
I feel like the word attractive though. Like
yeah.
I'm not saying another dude's. I guess I feel like there's more to attractive than just looks. Though.
Agreed.
Well, like if I say you're a good looking dude, like it doesn't go beyond that.
I
It's
agree.
like
because in a sexual context, zero interest.
Yeah.
So that's where she was just then I told her that I was like, well, in that if you're using that line of thought, everybody's bisexual.
Yeah, exactly.
Because without a doubt, male, female, you've seen somebody of the same gender and be like, well, that was a good looking person.
Yeah.
So then everybody's bisexual with that logic.
Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
make
So
any
that's
sense.
just like that's like me like driving like going to like a rodeo and seeing a big ass bull and that's a good looking bull. That's
Yeah.
big, and being like, bro, you're a beast.
Exactly. Like I seen a horse. That's a good looking horse. Oh, you want to have sex with it? Real quick before we get into the actual topics for today, we're gonna do a segment. We need to do a segment on strange coworkers, but that just made me think of something.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll cover that.
This guy I used to work with, he sat across from me, and this dude was weird overall, but he sat across from me, and I just noticed like him staring at me. Like I would be sitting down on my phone, eating my food, whatever. He's staring at me. I just look, and like after the second day, I noticed it. I'm like, "What's up, man? Like what? Why do you keep staring at me?" He says, "Oh, you're a good-looking man." I was like, "Oh, well, thank you, but so you're gay then? Like you're homosexual?" He's like, "No." I'm like, so you're staring at me. You're watching me because I'm good looking.
That is a little strange.
That's like
That's a little strange.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's one thing to be like, oh, good looking
No,
dude.
that's what I mean.
Go about your
yeah,
business, but to stare at me because apparently you're find my face pleasing or whatever. Like it's a little weird. Like it's but he was a strange guy.
I think there's just levels to it, bro.
Yeah,
There's
I don't
100%
know.
levels to
That
it.
guy was bizarre, but I was just like, man, I don't like. I can admit the same thing, but I don't want to stare at another dude.
Well, no,
like
yeah,
that.
exactly. Well, in the context I've done it, it's been like say a social setting, and somebody will walk in and like it'll be a dude in a cool outfit and like just put himself together. And I'm like, that's a good looking dude.
Yeah.
And it's never been like I'm just like, damn.
Yeah,
Look
like
at
just
this
look
guy.
at him. I just want to look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I absolutely I support Pride Month and everything. I think a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon, but it's weird. Whatever. We'll move forward. I am hoping to have a great summer. It feels like summer's here. Hoping to have a great summer, some new experiences, meet some new people, and just enjoy life, work hard, all that good stuff.
I think this new whole dynamic we all have in our group, I think we're off to a good start to have a good summer. So
Absolutely. So, all right. So the first topic of the day, we are going to discuss the pros and cons of social meds.
social media.
Social media. Yeah. So I think one pro for me is the fact that you can connect with so many people you haven't seen in a long time.
You took that one out of my brain.
On the other side of the world and wherever you have been, or wherever they are, and and places you visited and what have you. A con. People take it way too seriously. Like some people use it as a straight up diary.
Yes.
And I think we've touched on before. I don't know necessarily. I'm not in the position to say whether that's right or wrong, but it just seems a little like, why do you want everybody to know your innermost thought always?
Always, yeah. Especially when they start being contradictory of your other.
Exactly.
thoughts
It's
that
like, hey, you just said you weren't. You just said you weren't ever gonna do that again. You said you were done with that relationship.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I think a lot of people, like some of the people who take it way too seriously, they also they tend to think if you didn't post it on Facebook, it ain't happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember I had a person say to me, like asked me, I was still heavily in the gym at this time, and they asked me if I was still working out because they hadn't seen me post nothing in a while.
And to them, it was like, you must not.
Yeah, you must not be doing it at all if I didn't see it.
And it's like I did that snap the other day where I was like a scientific fact: if you don't take a selfie at the gym, you don't get gains. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
And I think that's so stupid. And then another thing is like, again, in the same vein of people taking it too seriously, it's like somebody will post a picture and it doesn't get much of a reaction and they're upset about it. And it's like, what does that, in the long term, what does that do for you?
Yeah.
Like,
No, so I think
it's a little ego boost, pat on the back. But
so. One, I'm going to agree right away. The pro is the connectivity.
Yeah.
And that's with friends, family. Everything. As a musician, it's great because in an instant I can tell people, yo, my show coming up, yo, my video I just dropped, hey, like new single, new album, and
we're doing this. I'm having a gathering. We're gonna do a barbecue.
Because again, the young old head dynamic that we have is back not too long ago. The way I used to get my music out was I would like get them pressed up on a disc, and I would go to like all these big events, say whatever it was, where there was a big crowd, and I would just hand out tapes.
That's wild.
Which is like
Tapes?
a whole or CDs.
I was like, oh, you're not that
tapes,
old,
okay,
bro.
yeah, but no CDs, yeah, bro. But yeah, so I just hand out my CD to people, and now it's just as simple. Like for instance, all my stuff is on Spotify and iTunes.
Yeah.
It's instant.
Now it's as simple as click the link in my bio.
The con, I think that social media becomes a competitive thing.
Yes.
To where it's like I want to post like the most attractive picture and like you said, the likes.
Yeah.
Like my picture got 150 likes.
Yeah.
And you see somebody post their new car or their new house, and then then you start feeling insecure.
Exactly.
Like, wait,
like, hey, I'm the same age as that guy. And I don't have this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And then
this could be coming from somebody who is successful, somebody who has like a nice house, nice car.
Yeah.
But like Joe Blow has a bigger house, nicer car. So
Right.
to them, they're like, oh well, I'm just not doing it. Or the one thing that's I think a con is like the social media influencers.
Oh yeah.
The people who are famous just because like there's no
like
real
just
reason.
so and then I absolutely agree with that part. And then one thing we've touched on before is like especially Instagram. like it's got a lot of women feeling really insecure about their bodies because they're not
big time.
shaped like a Coke bottle or hourglass like this girl who paid $20,000 to look like that is, and she gets 10,000 likes on every picture, and it starts to make them feel self-conscious. And like, I really want some of these women to know, like, you don't have to be that to be attractive.
Not at
like,
all. And mind you, these people, that's the thing about social media. You're getting the I guess the fakest and the best version of them.
Yeah.
So that girl who's gorgeous in her Instagram post, you could that was probably heavily edited, taken from a specific angle. Like
so it's like filtered.
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally filtered and then filtered in a metaphorical sense.
Yeah.
She's presenting you with
like
all the good stuff.
My best angle. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing, another con of social media is I think people are just willing to go so far to get some notoriety.
Oh, 100%.
Bro, I've been seeing this trend where it's these same people, like they'll make a whole platter of food on the counter with no saran wrap, no plates or nothing, and it went viral because people were like, hey, that's disgusting. Like, why are you doing
just a
that?
bare ass table.
Yeah, and then
just raw dogging the table.
But this is even worse. I seen this family, they're making dessert in the toilet.
Yes,
did you see
we
that?
talked about that on the.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, she was making like the sherbet and pouring.
I just seen there was a recent one. Yeah, with the Hawaiian punch.
Yeah,
There was a recent one where they had like a sundae in the toilet, and they all had straws, and it was like 3 or 4 people all had straws in their mouth in the toilet. I'm just like, that is obviously a reach to try to get some sort
likes.
of
It's just likes.
Likes,
it's literally
notoriety.
Into what?
And they know, like, there's people out there who will eat a turd on camera just to go viral. And it's like,
people were snorting condoms, eating Tide Pods.
And it's like, what? Like, okay, so let's say you go viral, you get a bunch of likes and all this. Like, what do you have to present to sustain that popularity? Like, what more do you have?
And we also live in an era where so many people have now become addicted to it and jump into it.
Yeah.
That the 15 minutes of fame thing has become 5 minutes of fame. I think we've talked about it before, and even less than that. And I think people see these social media influencers and so bad want to be them because so many of these social media influencers had that flash in the pan, that lightning in the bottle. They made that one post that for whatever reason just blew up, and some of them can grab onto it and like just explode into the stratosphere.
Right.
Other people crave that, so then you have people doing disgusting, weird, pointless things to get likes, and then their next video gets like 6 views.
Yeah,
and it's like, bro,
you're not really
you clowned yourself for what reason?
Yeah, you did all that and nobody cared.
Yeah, exactly. You ate a sundae out of a toilet.
I think the idea of fame and notoriety is cool, but as a humble, reasonable human being, like there's a lot of stuff I wouldn't do.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Like I feel like we're gonna start doing different types of content, but it's always gonna be within stuff we're comfortable with.
And I feel like that's the whole thing about comedy and also perspective, because anything we do, like if it's cringy, it's gonna be intentionally cringy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and any like our skits, if they're like insensitive or racy, it's because it was planned to be so. It's comedy. We're purposely. Admittedly, I'm excited for the video portion because we've come up with some really funny concepts, and we just have to implement them.
Yes. So.
But I agree. Social media. We come from an era, I feel, when you had fame, it was because you were actually presenting something worthy of that.
Right.
If that makes sense. So
for the most part.
Yeah, well,
you had a few people like Kim Kardashian, Paris Hilton, who basically were famous for being
who they knew. But
I mean, for the most part, most people usually had some sort of talent.
Yeah, like a musician, and like that's how you blew. And even then, back then, we were even really critical on some because
why is she famous?
Yeah, exactly. Like, this person's not that talented.
What do you do?
And now it's like even dipped even lower to where it's like, this person like farted into a trombone, like 12 million views.
And now she's on Instagram promoting flat tummy tea.
Yeah. It's just.
It's so dumb, but there's so much more we could get into with this. Even like relationships and stuff, like people take it so seriously. Like, why didn't you like my picture? Why'd you like that bitch's picture?
Yes.
I can't believe you. What the fuck? You messing around with that bitch?
Yep.
Like, I've actually been in scenarios where I got cussed out for
liking a picture.
other women's
Yep.
pictures. Yeah, absolutely. And
No.
I'm like, yo, it's really not.
That's where
that.
my wife is so cool.
Yeah.
My wife is a cool wife.
I mean,
where-
unless I'm in there like, oh, I'm saying something nasty to the girl. I never really
yeah,
understood.
exactly. Just liking it, like,
and that's
like, yo, like they post a picture, they look good in. Like,
yeah, it's an aesthetically pleasing
Yeah,
picture.
like,
And like
well
she would like pictures of dudes, and I was like, whatever. Like,
That's Felicia. And that's where I'm so lucky with my wife, because we're the type that we'll show each other. We'll be like, oh damn, look at this. Like, you know,
Yeah,
like
look
show.
at this
Yeah, I'll show her a chick, and I'm like, yeah, she looks good, and whatever.
Let's
and,
get her in the bedroom.
no,
okay.
I haven't reached that level. Yet.
Okay, so we actually may have to revisit this.
Yes,
man,
yeah, because we'll spaz out
yeah.
for too long.
So let's move on to the next
You get the
subject.
random fact. Random fact.
The random fact. So you consider yourself a student of the game of hip hop, correct,
Yeah,
Nicholas?
absolutely, bro.
You're familiar with a lot of the greats.
I would think so. Yes.
So do you know one of the biggest names, one of the most recognizable, one of the most influential rappers? His name is Lassane Crooks. Are you familiar with Lassane Crooks?
No, I am not.
Yes, you are. I know for a fact you are familiar
Lassane
with
Crooks?
Lassane Crooks. I don't know how big of a fan you are, but you know his influence. You know his songs. And you know he was part of one of the most, I will say, notorious rap feuds of all time. Lassane Crooks is the birth name of Tupac Shakur, Nicholas. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that. And
Random fact of the day. Yeah, he was born Lassane Parish Crooks. And his mother changed his name when he was at the age of 1 to Tupac Amaru Shakur. He was named after some Spanish guy who tried to lead a revolt back in the 1800s or something like that. But yeah, so to be fair, he never knew himself as anything other than Tupac
yeah, 'cause
Shakur.
you're 1 year old.
Yeah, because you're a year old. But his birth name was Lassane Parish Crooks.
That's and what's
And
ironic,
people, if
that's
you
a
didn't
pretty
know,
cool name.
it actually
Yeah,
is.
that's a
But
dope name.
I think it was more of because his mother was a revolutionary with the Black Panthers and stuff, and I think she probably I think the reason because she had changed her. I think she changed her name too, if I'm not mistaken. But I think it was just more the meaning behind that name,
Yeah.
Tupac Amaru. Yeah, so he never knew himself as that. Anybody listening to the podcast, if you were unaware of this fact, Google Lassane Crooks and see who comes up.
And that was
Lassane is Lesane.
so. Jay has previously actually told me this, so I think I did a wonderful job being like, what?
You
No.
forgot about it though.
No, actually, I did forget because now that you said it, that's when you told me the other day. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Because you're like, my random fact, I've told you before, and you're like, it's the name of somebody. I'm like, who are you talking
Yeah.
about? But you saying it now makes me remember.
Yeah.
And I remember I was legitimately like, out of all the little hip hop facts I know, like the little things I could dive into, that was at 32 years old. 20 years of being a hip hop fan, I was shocked.
Yeah, so at least Tupac was his actual name. One thing that bothered me to find out, I guess I could have saved this, but I'll just throw it out real quick because there's really not a lot to talk about with this. Rakim's real name isn't Rakim, it's William. Yeah, and Raekwon's real name isn't Raekwon, it's Corey.
That one's strange to me. Corey.
I was disappointed with both of those.
Yeah,
like,
Corey,
man, y'all frauds.
And none of that,
Like-
but two like super like I picture like frat boy names like
Yeah.
William and Corey.
William
coming
and
over
Corey,
there.
some of the greatest lyricists ever.
Hey, William brought the keg, dude. Corey, you got the ganja, man.
Corey's got the guns, bro. Okay, so let's move on to our last topic of the day.
Okay, so this is one.
Also, get in the comment section if you like what we're
Yeah,
doing.
always. Yeah, people comment, please.
Comment and let us know. Leave us a like
Compliments.
on the video. Let us know what you want to hear us discuss or what you think about what has been discussed.
talk
What are
about-
your pros and cons of social media?
Talk about how attractive I am, whatever.
I mean, if you want to lie, whatever. I mean,
Hurtful. Okay, anyway. So I brought this up to Jay.
you're an ugly son of a bitch.
Okay.
I'm
Just
sorry.
insult to injury.
I-
Kick a guy
You know
while
what?
he's
You know
down.
what? It's got to stop somewhere. I'm sorry.
So
Go ahead.
I was talking to Jay. I hit him up a few days ago. The topic I wanted to address today was So this is our hip hop portion of the
Yes.
hip hop adjacent podcast, and it has to do with ghostwriters.
Yes.
And what in like so if you know a really famous relevant artist has a ghostwriter, what does that do for their legacy and reputation?
I think for me, that takes them, for me personally, that takes them away from the category of being a great
Yeah.
rapper slash lyricist.
I
They can still
agree.
be a great artist because even if you're not putting those words together, you got to present them in a way
Exactly,
that's going to sound
yeah,
good
100%.
and what have you. So that's why
'Cause,
guys like
it's theatrics, at the same time.
exactly,
Yeah, so.
exactly. So it's just like how a good actor, like he has to,
He has
put
to become-
somebody,
yeah, he has to
to
become
put
this.
somebody else's words into action.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the similar thing with rap. So I don't like, I won't be like, oh, I'm never listening to such and such again. But it's like I just can't put you among the greats. You can still be a great artist.
Yeah.
though.
So what triggered it for me was it was a hip hop DX article, and it was talking about Jay-Z in a recent interview, and Jay-Z wrote for Dr. Dre.
Oh,
and,
yes,
and it was
quite a bit,
Yeah,
yeah.
still DRE.
Yeah, he wrote the chorus and Dre's verses.
Yeah, and so that was just surprising to me. But I also knew that M wrote "Forgot About Dre."
Yeah.
Like from what I understand, like pretty much the whole song.
Yeah, and like you were saying, Ice Cube wrote a lot of the
The
rhymes
NWA,
for
yeah,
NWA.
NWA.
And then Game and Kendrick Lamar both have written for Dre as
Yeah.
well.
So with that, I think that and you brought up a really good point, which you sort of addressed already. When you talk about greats, Dre is 100% in there.
Absolutely.
That dude has revolutionized hip hop. He is one of the godfathers.
Bro, think
of
about
it.
how many, not only how great he is himself and all the stuff he's produced that's been amazing, but think about how many artists he brought us. Like Kendrick, Game, 50, Snoop, Eminem,
Yeah,
you know, so guys who are going to have their names remembered in history, and they're affiliated with him.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
so.
Like so that was what sparked it, and then
And I guess even technically Ice Cube, even though they kind of burst on the scene together.
yeah.
But you know.
So with that, we will address this at some point, but we talk about like a hip hop Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, we're gonna do a few segments on that.
Because I feel by decade.
Yeah, by decade and then region as well, because
Yeah.
it's too hard
Yeah, it
to
is,
just
yeah,
put
yeah,
like
'cause,
a good four. So we'll do time periods, regions, and what have
But
you.
with that, we don't have to go into super detail, but a conversation had arose, and I saw a post about it.
Yeah.
And they put Drake on it, and my biggest discrepancy with it was the ghostwriter.
Yeah, it depends on what your criteria is for that.
Your
if we're talking about because it was the 2010s.
If we're talking numbers and impact.
Numbers and impact and influence, yeah, he has to be on there.
Exactly.
But like, and even artistry to a degree. But if we're talking about like a lyricist, you know, just a dope rapper, he kind of falls out of the conversation for me.
Yeah, so-
Although he's very talented, but I just, and it's, what's really weird about him is like he's actually written for other people. Like he's written songs for like Alicia Keys and stuff.
So I remember when the whole thing with him and his ghostwriter, because I think he has a specific ghostwriter that's pretty known.
Quentin Miller.
Yeah, so when that whole thing came out, I think it was in an interview that Drake said that he was like, man, y'all act like I don't write my own shit though. Also, and so that's one part where it's like, okay, like I don't want to take away the fact that like I don't think that Drake goes in the studio and is just some babbling idiot that's like, oh, what do I do, guys? You
got my lyrics?
Yeah.
Where's my lyrics?
Yeah, so again, that's a whole thing because when you talk about ghostwriter, you're like, okay, to what degree? Like, like did you write an entire verse, or did this ghostwriter just like write the hook for a song, but he's credited on it?
Yeah, or even you're in the studio and you're just contributing.
Yeah,
ideas
exactly. Yeah,
like
because
that.
I think on a business level, if like say you and I were in the studio and you were like I was doing a song and you were like, hey man, instead of doing this, why don't you like say it like this?
Yeah,
I feel like then you'd get credited on the song, like help written by so.
Yeah.
So that's where it falls into. But I will say, if I find out you have a ghostwriter as a fan, it bums me out. Legitimately.
Same.
I'm like, oh, man.
I know we kind of the popular opinion of him has been skewed a bit in years, but Kanye West I always felt like was a phenomenal artist, phenomenal lyricist. And then I found out he didn't write one of my favorite songs by him, which was Jesus Walks. Yeah, he didn't write that. Actually, a gentleman by the name of Rhymefest wrote that. And I was just
And
like,
he's another
what?
pretty like notable like ghostwriter.
Yeah.
It's like known.
So I was that bummed me. I was like, no, Kanye, you didn't. Yeah. So that kind of, and don't get me wrong, Kanye is still very much a musical genius. I just personally wouldn't put him in that lyricist.
Yeah.
dope
Say again,
rapper
once I
category
find
no more.
out you have a ghostwriter, let alone one who wrote one of your biggest bangers, your
Yeah.
biggest hits. Again, it just kind of, it takes away that like illustrious like because I think of when I think of like the greats. I'm always like, man, what goes on in your head?
Yeah,
like, what,
exactly.
What made you piece
how
that
did you
together?
put- yeah, exactly.
in the studio, like if I could have been there to witness it, and then just when you find out there's a ghostwriter, it's like, oh, well, that just kind of
Yeah, and it's
takes
even
away the
worse.
thunder, yeah.
It'd be even worse if there's a reference track too, because it's like not only did this person write
But
this,
they had
told
to show you how to rap
yeah,
it, how to rap
so
this
it's
song.
just like yeah.
I will say in the industry, it's crazy though. So Beyonce, for instance, there's this female artist who's, I mean, a wonderful vocalist, and she's not as mainstream. But her name's Skylar Grey.
Yeah, I've heard
Skylar
of her,
Grey?
yeah.
Skylar Grey. Well, she ghostwrites and stuff for Beyonce.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind because I'm like, man, Beyonce's like up here in the stratosphere. And
That's-
Skylar Grey does good, but it's just like crazy to think, man, like this like chick that if I went to a Beyonce fan and was like Skylar Grey, they'd be like, who's that? I'm like, yeah,
Exactly.
she probably wrote some of your favorite songs.
I feel like in that, if outside of hip hop, it's different because if somebody like Beyonce, she has some vocal skills and can
I agree.
dance, and like her performance is like really a show. So I feel like it's different, like because
You're
obviously
you're 100% right.
they're putting legitimate talent to work.
Well,
and
it's like right now, if you were a phenomenal singer, but you just couldn't write,
Yeah.
it'd be like, well, like
Yeah,
you
it would
shouldn't
be
let
like,
that talent go to waste.
Exactly.
The reason rap is different is you could have the weirdest, bunkiest, dorkiest voice in the world
Yeah.
and find it in hip hop.
That's true.
You could have a weird. I mean, we've seen examples of it.
Oh, yeah.
There's people who have really strange voices and they make it work in
Yeah.
hip hop. And hip hop, that's where hip hop is so beautiful. Is you could be Joe Schmo, and if you with enough practice,
Lil
and-
Joe Schmo.
yeah, little Joe Schmo. With enough practice and man hours, like you can develop your sound and your
Absolutely.
skill. As a singer, you might just not have it. Like realistically, it's
Yeah.
just like yo, you go to singing like
Yeah, and
lessons,
you got to there's got to be an actual gift there.
yeah, and so I feel, and also hip hop, just being real, from the roots. So we're talking from like the ground, like the main centric thing of hip hop. If you go down to like the birth and gestation of it,
Yeah.
being a lyricist and writing your own shit, like
Yeah.
getting on stage and rapping in front of a crowd and getting a reaction, that was the core fundamental.
Exactly,
So to
and it
take
was
that
like-
aspect away and be like, oh, like that shit you just like wilded out to, yeah, I didn't write that.
Yeah, and it's like that was the thing too early on. Is like you would write some rhymes and go and show your buddies like, look what I came up
Yeah.
with. Like, so if it's you take that aspect of it away, it's kind of there's not as much as
Yeah.
respect.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's like I said, you can still be a great
No,
artist.
yeah, I agree.
You
Yeah.
just
like
I
I'm
just
not. I
can't
don't even want to
consider
slander Drake because
Yeah.
the dude. I mean, it's and also the talent has to be there because
Yeah.
anybody could have been Drake, but
Absolutely.
Drake was Drake. Like
Yeah,
anybody
exactly.
could have been Drake. There's something about the dude. And
Exactly, and
So-
he's been on top for over a decade, man. And I personally, I don't really care to check for nothing new, but like some of his older stuff, I love still to
Yeah,
this day.
it's funny. We talked about it already, you and I, but the conversation we got about Drake, one of my friends had commented because I was like, yeah, I feel like Drake is a good number 4 for the era we were talking about for
Yeah.
the Mount Rushmore. And he goes, nah, man, no way, Drake doesn't belong. I'm like, bro, if we're talking impact and numbers,
Yeah.
he goes, nah, man, he goes, Drake hasn't been relevant in like in the past 10 years. And I was like, who
Like,
like,
not-
did you
yeah, he
just
said-
crawl out from a rock?
Yeah, he
Like,
said something like "not this decade."
Yeah,
so
he
if he's
said-
talking
yeah,
about
he-
now.
yeah.
Like it's like, bro, like the decade
Well,
just started.
All
Like,
I googled after he said that. All I googled was #1 hip hop selling artist, and Drake was right. He was like #2.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, numbers. He's right. It's literally right there.
he
Like,
said, didn't he say something to the effect of, "Oh, I don't really consider him hip hop or something"?
yeah.
like
Oh
that.
yeah. He did say he
And it
goes
was like, bro,
yeah.
you're gatekeeping now.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Any artist or any award he gets nominated for, it's always in the hip hop
Yeah,
category.
and the dude is hip hop. I
Yeah,
mean, granted,
absolutely hip-hop.
he can shift
He's-
into that.
yeah, he
pop
sings and
R&B,
does, like, the
but
club
he's
records,
he's a
but,
hip hop
yeah.
artist. No, I agree. Yeah, but I just thought that was funny. And some just to conclude because we're right at like the time of our episode.
Yes,
but
sir.
as an artist, some of my favorite memories, especially as a hip hop artist, are with my friends I grew up with who had a mutual love for it. And sitting in the studio, we'd play a beat, and the beat would we just have it on loop, and we'd all start writing, and it would just go dead silent in the room except for the beat, and we just start writing, and then like 10, 15 minutes would go by, and it's like, hey bro, check out what I got, and then somebody'd spit it, and it would be something really flashy and fly, and then you'd be like shit, and scribble your shit out, and then start your verse over, because you're like, oh, this is what we're doing, and those are some of my favorite memories, because admittedly, like a lot of hip hop is like a pissing contest. Sometimes it's like, which to me is one of my favorite things. Like I'm very competitive, so like as much.
Yeah, you're very competitive and very arrogant too.
A little bit.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. Oh gosh. All right. So, well, I don't do the outro, so I don't know.
So all right. Well, that'll conclude it. So this has been another episode of the Young Old Heads Hip Hop Podcast, Hip Hop Adjacent Podcast.
Yeah.
I am Nicholas Fletcher.
I am Rap Master JMD.
JD Nice.
That's what it would have been in the 80s. Is Rap
Master J. Yeah, that's another thing we got to cover back in the day, like how much hip hop changed.
Oh man,
and all that how like rappers would
or it'd
dress,
be something like Cool C. This is Cool C. I'm Cool C.
Cool C. Cool C up on the scene, and I'm here to do my thing with my friends and fiends.
I am Jaquan Davis.
So again, you've been tuned into another episode. A big thing for us guys is feedback and interaction, because the more our fans interact and our supporters, because I feel like we're getting now a pretty decent core of like our friends and family that support us.
Yes.
The more you comment and share the stuff, our reach spreads.
Yeah, it helps us with the algorithm.
So if you want to base it off just the algorithm of say social media, if you guys comment on our videos or when we share them, it's going to pop up in your friend's timeline, which is going to treat them. And I feel like we got a good thing going. My favorite thing, man, is you just showed me a friend of yours who gave us some like sincere like feedback. Yeah. And that means a lot to us. So like sincere feedback. And I mean, the cocky side of me is like, I think we got something special. So.
I think so too.
So, all right.
We're doing a podcast. Yeah.
All right, everybody. We love y'all. Have a good day.
Happy summer.
Bye-bye.